wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
How's that working, guys? Can you hear me now? Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? You guys have to tell me if you can hear me or not. All right, we might have to change the settings on this in just a moment. 1 second. You can hear me? Yes. Awesome. So we did have some technical difficulties. I was right. Okay, so we figured it out. Thank you. I love my live chat people. Hello. Happy November 21st. Happy birthday to my husband. He turned 45 years old today. I would have loved to take him to the Niner game. It's down in Mexico City. We'll be talking about that a little later. Yeah, they're down for Monday Night Football. And I had a little picture of the announcement. There you go. Yeah. 5:15 kickoff for Monday Night Football. Sweet. I would love to go there. I hear it's going to be a huge game with a lot of Niner fans. So yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Okay. So we do have a big show coming up. Steve Moskowitz is going to be on in a little bit. He is our founding exclusive sponsor, and he has a big announcement to make. And he's going to have a very special guest. And I know who the special guest is. You guys are just going to have to hang around. He might tease it a little bit, but yeah, I'm very, very excited for our special guest, and that person will be coming on in a 1 o'clock hour. And so please stay tuned for that, because that's going to be a good time. We have a big show coming up. We will get into the World Cup and all the drama that is surrounding that. We'll do that later on this hour. It's been compared to the Fire Festival. If you guys don't know the drama of the Fire Festival, there have been, I think, Hulu did a documentary about it. It was absolutely insane. Basically, the nuts and bolts of the whole thing was some scam artists thought that they can just invite a bunch of celebrities to this island and have no infrastructure in place. Now, I'm not saying the World Cup is entirely that, but where these people have to stay is looking a little, I don't know, not really first class, if you get what I'm saying. So I'll have some pictures about where some people, thousands of people, are going to have to stay during the World Cup. USA is playing Wales. I'm not quite sure if it's underway, the time change thing. It actually was supposed to start today, but it kicked off yesterday because they decided to allow Qatar, whichever way you want to say it, tomato, to kick it off. And apparently they lost. I think they lost to Ecuador, 2-0. So that's coming up in the next half hour. Also, we will be talking in hour 1 about the tragedy that happened in Colorado. I cannot imagine living in an area that has been the home of so many tragedies. And the fact that this massacre happened at a gay nightclub, and this past Sunday, yesterday was Transgender Remembrance Day. It's hard not to bring politics into it, although I don't want to. I know that people come with their own, baggage and hate, and to point that just solely at one political party, I don't think is fair. But I also don't think that we can ignore the rhetoric that comes from people like Congresswoman Lauren Boebert and others, and then the connection that this gunman has to a Republican state assembly member. Now, this guy, Randy Vopel, he's outgoing, so he's leaving. But again, the message that we give people in our lives, the way we raise them, has impacts. It just does. So we'll talk about that in the next hour. I know it's depressing, but it's an important conversation that we do need to have. All right, but how did I start the show and we didn't do our exercises? Okay, so my back's been killing me lately. I need a new bed. So I always do my arm exercises with all of you to start off the show. And then we're going to play with our fingers. All right, you ready? Click that thumbs up button. Please, 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 please. Just hit the thumbs up. Share it with your friends and your family. Get them to subscribe. I know Mark was talking about this, and we're on YouTube, and we're really trying to grow the show. If we can get to more subscribers, that really helps us grow the show. And so not only hit the thumbs up, but share it with your friends. You're going to be hanging out with people this week, and it's the perfect time to be like, did you hear what happened at Station X? You should find Nikki, Mark, and Chip. I was just on Chip's Franklin show this morning. He's going to have a show from 9 until 10 into Mark's show. And so I was on there. Mark was on there kind of towards the tail end of Chip Franklin's show. You can find that also on YouTube. So we're really trying to create something. And so the best way to help all of us is to subscribe and then get your friends to subscribe. And I love that Mark mentioned they don't have to watch the show. They just have to subscribe, which is great. I mean, I would love for them to also watch the show, but if they, just can't subscribe, that's awesome as well. The super chat is live. That is a great way for all of you. And you guys have been so generous to support the show during the show. And if you have a comment, then I have pins it at the top. I see it. I comment on it. I react to it. You can send super stickers, super thanks. It's all a great way to support the show during the show. And then, of course, please be a monthly subscriber. Any amount. I mean, small, large, anywhere in between. Become a Patreon subscriber. It's this new way of creating an income for people like myself that create these shows every day. And so just go to my website, thenikkimedoroshow.com. The link to the Patreon is there, and it ensures that I can keep doing the show. And also the links to the YouTube show are there for you to share with your family and friends, and just send a little message like, click the subscribe button. It costs you $0 just to do that. And so I'm really, really excited about continuing the show, especially through the holidays and into the new year. And we have a lot of plans. Just to let you know, as far as this is a holiday week, we also have a podcast. You could take us with you. You don't have to watch it, although this is the new way that we're doing it. But we're on iTunes, Stitcher, any sort of podcast app you use, we're there. Just look for the Nikki Medoro Show, and we're there. So you can listen to us if you're driving somewhere to grandma's house for Thanksgiving. You could take us with you. There will not be a Thanksgiving show, although I am planning on some new content on that day. But I'll be spending much needed time with my family, and I hope all of you are as well. I will be back on Friday though, so no worries there. And yeah, it's going to be a great week. We have a lot planned. It's really hard, getting all this together, but I'm loving the new dynamic. And yes, just to let everybody know, if you're just joining us, Chip Franklin has launched his own show. I believe he's going to do it Monday through Friday from 9 until 10 in the morning, right before Mark's show. So we kind of have a nice little chunk for you guys right now. It is Chip Franklin from 9 to 10, and then Mark from 10 to noon, and then me noon to 2. And so this is just going to be so much fun. And we're going to keep doing this crazy, crazy thing. And my God, it's already begun. The love has already begun. Murphy, who you reach out to us here on social media. We love you, Murphy Rowan. Keep it going. I totally love that I can have a morning of talk show like I used to with Station X. Nikki and Kim, you're oh so awesome. Thank you, Murphy, for the donation in the live chat. And that's just a simple way of doing it. And we can continue keeping this crazy thing going. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of politics. My husband's birthday today. It was President Biden's birthday yesterday, just kind of a whole go Scorpio type of weekend. Now, he is President Biden. The first president to be 80 years old while in office. How does that make you feel? I mean, I don't want to be ageist because we always have to preface this, but he's 80 and he's president. So he had a private brunch. He also apparently, the White House hosted his granddaughter Naomi's wedding on Saturday. So a very busy weekend for President Biden. So Naomi's wedding was the 19th wedding in White House history, the first since 2013. And then today, I'm sure it's happened already, but I've been kind of in the weeds preparing for the show, and I'm not quite sure if it's happened, but President Biden is pardoning the turkeys. Anybody not a huge turkey fan for Thanksgiving? I'm not. I like ham. I prefer ham, but I never get ham for Thanksgiving. Somebody was asking a question about this sign behind me. So we have an electrical issue. I need to get a longer extension cord. All of my plugs are being used to do this. And so I need to get another extension and hopefully not blow anything up. But it does light up. So you're absolutely right, Kyle. It's going to be lit up. My sister-in-law did that for me. And so I definitely want to get that lit up. But back to President Biden and being older. So he's pardoned the turkeys. That's what he's doing today. And then he's going to go to Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point in North Carolina for a Friendsgiving with service members and military families. So a very busy, agenda for President Biden. I just wonder, again, as we head towards 2024, if he even wants to do any of these things. I mean, I know on one hand, being president is an important job and he's built for it. He's dedicated his life to public service. On the other hand, he's 80. Don't you think there's a part of him that just wants to hand it off to somebody capable? And who will that be? And that's going to be the big question as we head toward 2024. I just don't know if he's the right guy for it. Let me get to some of the comments, because President Biden is pardoning turkeys today. Harry, pardon the turkeys. Trump too. That's funny. I remember I had a Facebook memory of Trump pardoning turkeys, and he did. Trump pardoned turkeys when he was president. But I had posted that like a meme or something about how Trump wants the turkeys to thank him for pardoning him, or he's going to cut both of their heads off, right? It's just like it doesn't – he always needs to be thanked before he does anything awesome. Eric's turkey stuff – what is how do you pronounce that, Eric Kennedy? Turkey stuffed with octopus covered in bacon.
Kathurkey.
I'm not going to yuck your yum. No, thank you, though. That's all I got to say. I don't, that doesn't sound. Octopus? Are we sure it's octopus? That's just a callback.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Good morning. Happy Monday, Kim McAllister.
Morning, Glory. How are you?
I'm good. So I was asking people if they're a fan of turkeys because President Biden is pardoning turkeys today, right?
Chocolate and Chip are their names.
Is that so? They've been pardoned. I figured it already
Chocolate
done.
and Chip, and they retire back to their North Carolina farm from whence they came.
Okay,
and off they go. Chocolate and Chip.
Chocolate and Chip. I kind of like that. I like it. But I was saying how I'm not a huge fan of turkey. It's not one of my favorite meats. I prefer ham. Nick's is I never get ham. I love ham, like a honey baked ham for Easter. That sounds delicious to me. Are you a big turkey person?
I like a turkey on Thanksgiving. My husband this year tried to get. I'm broadcasting from Florence, Oregon, from my dad's house, and
okay.
My husband tried to get my dad this year to acquiesce to the roasted chicken that you buy at Costco. My dad was having no part of it. He wants to do the turkey. And so, but you know why I like turkey on Thanksgiving? I like more for the day after, because if you don't have a turkey sandwich with leftover turkey the day after Thanksgiving, then it's just not the same.
I could pass on all that. I could have a ham sandwich. You know what I mean? I could have all of that. But yeah, a rotisserie chicken from Calvin. A lot of you don't eat meat, and I get it. Mark Thompson doesn't eat meat. Chip Franklin. I don't know if you saw, but Chip Franklin launched his show this morning, Kim McAllister.
That's
from
exciting.
9 until 10. Very, very exciting. So I was on with him and Mark, and
Wait
it was
a minute.
awkward.
So it's Chip 9 to 10
Yes.
Mark 10 to noon, you noon to 2.
Yes,
This is
exactly.
fantastic.
It's
I love
fabulous. It's fabulous. But so I'm sitting there on screen with Mark and Chip, and I'm honest. I eat meat. I do.
Yeah.
And they're both like, "Oh, save the birds! No turkey on our table," because Chip doesn't eat meat either.
Right.
And I'm all silent. It's all crickets. I eat meat. Dark meat, though. I do like dark meat. My mom likes the leg or the wing. She loves the wing. I like the dark meat. If I'm going to have turkey, I'm definitely not
only
I'm not a breast
meat.
woman. I'm not a white meat. Ugh, it's too dry.
If there's dark meat on my plate, I have to send it back.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
just give me the
Someone
plate.
else take the dark meat. I'll just take the white meat.
I will take all of the dark meat off your hands for you. Here's a question though.
That is why we're perfect partners.
There you
see
go.
What I'm saying?
I'll take the dark, you take the light, and it all works out, right? There's a song about all that stuff. Oh, look. So Sticky Cola Butt ate a couple enchiladas this weekend. Pretty tasty. So on Friday, if you missed it, we had a Friday food segment. And I think that this Friday, I'm going to start teasing it. You guys come up with your leftover meals, and I'll try to share whatever I'm going to concoct on mine, and we'll kind of have a Nikki Medoro show giving the day after. But I did get an enchilada, made the proper way with no onions on Friday. It was delicious. It was so good. I had to eat it because so I've shared with you guys that my daughter is having some health issues. And so I had to pick up this. Kim, you might feel me. Any parents out there will feel me. So I had to pick up my daughter from school at 3:00. And I go, she's like, I want to hang out with my friends after school for a little bit. I'm like, perfect. I'm going to go get your prescription. She had to get a couple of antibiotics. So I go to the pharmacy, and if anybody has any tricks and tips that you can give me, because my daughter refuses to swallow pills still, I have to get all of her medication in liquid form, which, not a big deal. Huge big deal for a pharmacy to do certain antibiotics. Do you want to know, just guess how long I had to sit at this pharmacy before I got the prescription? I was there at 3:00. I know. My son's looking at me.
I'm going to say that it was 3:45 until your name was called.
I did not get it until after they closed at 5:30.
Are
and
you
that,
kidding me?
my friend, so because they had to do it and they were slammed, they're like, if you just come back when we're closing, we'll make it for you after, but we don't have any time to do it right now. So I go up to the counter and I get it. And there's 2 bottles of this disgusting stuff, right? And she's naming off it. And I had to get 2 antibiotics. And I was like, where's the other one? And she's like, I only see one here. The other one, for some godforsaken reason, was into another pharmacy across town. So I did not finish getting 2 antibiotics until like 7:00 at night. And I'm just driving around and I'm like, you know what? This is the part about being a mom. This is it. I'll being a dad too. I'm not just going to say moms. Rat pills and peanut butter or Nutella. See, I hear you, Julie. But if you knew my daughter, she will literally try to feel out the pill. But I think she may come around because the antibiotics that she has are absolutely disgusting. The taste is awful. And so she really doesn't like it. And so maybe because it's disgusting, she'll try it. I mean, she's not a dog, people. I mean, I'm not really fooling her by putting it in cheese, and she doesn't eat cheese at all. She doesn't eat any sort of, she doesn't like dairy like that at all. Can you put it in pudding? I was thinking about maybe applesauce.
Because if you can't put a pill in something,
well, just to kind of slide it down.
Well, no, because you can feel the bump. It's the bump she doesn't want to feel.
Yeah, she doesn't want to feel it. It's difficult. So we'll try to figure it out, and hopefully disgusting medicine will entice my daughter to start learning how to swallow pills. Okay, so we have something big coming up next hour. But we want to check in first with our exclusive founding sponsor, Steve Moskowitz. Now, we're not going to give away the surprise yet, Steve, but we do have something big for our viewers and listeners coming up in the next hour.
I know. I'm very excited because around 1:05 we have a special mystery guest.
Yes.
And I believe that most of your audience already knows and loves the mystery guest.
Mm-hmm. I adore this mystery guest. I am so excited to see this mystery guest because it's been a while. And so we'll have that big announcement next hour. But you, Steve, I mean, the fact that you have been such a supporter of my show, of Mark's show, I know you're on with Chip Franklin. I mean, you are the guy that people need to go to for the best tax advice out there. And we love the fact that you are on our show giving all of our viewers and listeners the best advice.
Thank you, Nikki. And our firm can support them too, because there's so much involved. We talk about ERC all the time, and that's good. But there's other things too. For example, just this morning, I was talking to an ERC client. I said, well, now we're doing ERC. How about some tax planning? And guess what? The first thing out of the box, I said, we can cut your taxes basically in half by changing something you do. So what was he doing? Without getting too technical, there's basically two types of corporations. If you just form a corporation, you're a C corporation that pays its own taxes. And then when they make a distribution to the owner pays. So you get taxed twice on the same income. You can avoid the corporate tax by converting the C corporation into an S corporation. So here's the choices. Do you want to pay tax on your income twice or once? I said, what he's doing, he's paying twice. You got it.
Why?
That's the right answer. Okay, so right off the bat, in the beginning of the phone call, in the first few minutes, I said, well, I can greatly reduce your tax because we're going to switch your type of corporation. So, we were looking back at all his corporate taxes. I said, well, the correct number should have been 0 instead of all that money you paid out. The next thing I said is, do you have a pension? Well, no. I said, okay. Would you prefer to write a check to the IRS or a much smaller check to the IRS and a check to yourself? And those were just for starters. Now here it is. We're knocking on the door of Thanksgiving. And next month, the year is going to be over. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do by December 31st, or it's too late for 2022. So we want to avoid March Madness, where people say, well, that's not fair. I have to pay so much. The big companies don't pay. Because the big companies have an army of people like me. And look at the head of Apple Computer, who admits he spends a lot of his time with Apple's tax attorneys doing these things. And think about it. Mom and pop on the corner pay more in taxes than mighty Apple Computer.
That's crazy.
Because our tax system is a system of incentives, but you have to know, not to mention things like ERC, where the government can pay you up to $26,000 for every employee you have. And a lot of people are missing out on that because there's two ways to qualify, and a lot of firms are only looking at the easy way. And I could go on and on and on, but I know you probably want to do something in your show other than tax. A mystery to me why, but I understand and respect it.
Well, I love it. And we'll have you back next hour with your special guest. And I'm very excited to see what's coming up next for that person and yourself. And Steve, again, a big thank you. Give him a call. He is the guy that's going to walk you through any sort of tax situation you may have. AAA Tax Deal, MoskowitzLLP.com. That's MoskowitzzLLP.com. Steve, thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Talk to you next hour. Yeah. So, give Steve a call. He is absolutely the guy to answer all of your questions. Let me get to some of the comments that have been coming in with some advice. Oh, go ahead.
I'm kind of embarrassed because I want to see what Steve can save me this time around with taxes.
But you don't want to show him all your stuff.
But I don't want to. She's gonna be like, "Oh my God, you're living in poverty. Stop it. I can't even." So I'm kind of embarrassed for him to see the state of my affairs.
Oh,
but on
stop.
the other hand, if I never show him, then you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then if you never show him, then you might be, screwing yourself over and paying more than you have to.
So I'm just gonna have to go in with my head hung low and be like, "Here it is."
I
Steve.
am telling you, I am positive so many people in his business, whether it's Steve or the people that work for him, have heard that exact same story over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I spoke to someone that Steve recommended to me, and it was so funny. He made me feel better because, I'm starting this whole business and everything like that. And he's like, I'm telling you. He's like, some of the biggest companies that you would never even imagine, their books are a mess. And so he's like, don't beat yourself up over it. Get your stuff in order, of course.
Right.
But don't beat yourself up. He's like, the things that I have seen would blow your mind. So don't even worry about it, Kim McAllister. Steve has heard it all. I am sure in 3 decades of doing it, he has seen it all. So don't even worry about it. Okay. So some people are giving my daughter some advice. If you're just joining us, I was sharing a story about, she's 13. and forgive me, but I keep giving her crap. I'm like, learn to swallow a pill. That way you don't have to drink the disgusting medicine. I tell her, I go, all you would taste is water if you just swallow it down. But she can't. Dana's making me feel better. I was an adult before I could swallow pills. I just plugged my nose, swallowed the medicine, followed by soda. It worked every time. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I mean, I don't know.
Yep.
Holly, we started my son by swallowing Nerds, then something bigger, then Tic Tacs, then a pill. There you go. I think she thinks that it's going to go down the wrong pipe or something. And I don't know how to make her not have anxiety about it so much so that she can swallow it. But, it's just one of the trials and tribulations that kids and parents have.
Like the idea of practicing with something small like a Nerd.
Well, that's what we've tried. I told her bread, like just make a little tiny ball of bread. And then I try to explain to her that you swallow things way bigger than a pill all the time with the food that you eat, but it's different in her mind. She just can't get over it. And it's tough as a parent when it takes you a half an hour, right, to get all this medicine in. And, she has to take medicine now in the morning and at night. And it's just like, almighty. But we're working on it. We're getting there.
Can you just crush the pill and put it in mashed potatoes or something?
So one of her pills you can actually open it up. It's one of those kind of pills. But some pills, I mean, you're not supposed to crush. It even says on there, do not crush. So, I mean, I think it's probably a time lapse thing, like some sort of coating on it. Right. But yeah, I mean, I've tried a lot of these other things. Give her water in a soda bottle, have her lean her head backwards and look at the ceiling. Yeah, I mean, I tried that one. Try having her put her chin down when swallowing. When you look up, your throat closes up. Oh.
That's true. As a matter of fact, with
I find that
voice
difficult,
and singing lessons, when you can't hit the high note, they say if you tip your chin down just a little bit, you get more air and you're likely to hit that note.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it actually kind of makes sense as I'm sitting here playing with my throat muscles. All right, well, I'll try them. Practice with Skittles. We mentioned that she wasn't too forthcoming with all of that, but I will keep you guys posted because I'm sure these trial and tribulations will continue.
Something else kid related. We're driving to Oregon yesterday.
Okay.
And Julia's, every time we pass a Taco Bell sign, she's begging for Taco Bell.
My kind of girl.
David turns around and goes, what, did we get the wrong kid in the car? Are you Nikki Medoro's daughter? I just thought that was kind of funny. It's like no matter where I am, it's Taco Bell. Taco Bell City. We need to call them. They need to have a Taco Bell segment on the show. They need to pay.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it's just, if there was any, there's a number of things I'm thinking of that I could. Remember I was at Station X, I was obsessed with the fried chicken at the gas station, crispy, crunchy chicken. I was like, hello. Just food needs to sponsor me. Terrible food, apparently.
Sean Daly calls me the other day and he says, I'm not feeling well. I said,
no.
What's wrong? He goes, well, Nikki really recommended that fried chicken at the gas station, but I think it was under the hot lamp for a little too long. And it just
it's
me this.
Fine.
And I'm like, okay, your first mistake is listening to Nikki when it comes to food recommendations.
No!
Your second mistake is eating anything that is sitting under a hot lamp at a gas station. Are you joking me? You don't eat gas station food. That's not real food.
It's not. You're thinking, when I say gas station chicken, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like 7-Eleven, the hot dogs that spin on the thing for like all day.
Yeah.
That's not what this is. That's not what this is. This is, so when you go, if you go on a road trip, you just got to Oregon. So, and they'll have a gas station and there'll be a Subway attached to it.
Okay.
That's what this is.
Okay.
It's crunchy chicken, which is its own entity. And then, yes, it's attached to, the convenience store of the gas station. But it's not as if, they're using the oil from the cars to fry the chicken or something. I don't know what you're thinking, but it's bomb. It is so good. I don't care what you say. It is so, so yummy. Because an automatic door keeps the gas fumes and smog out, I hope. Whatever. I mean, I am not picky, people. You're right. Maybe John Daly just has too sensitive of a stomach and he needs to eat more crispy crunchy to kind of train his gut to be a little stronger like mine is, because I can knock back a couple of legs from crispy crunchy every day of the week. It is so good.
Does the crispy start with a K?
Yes. It's all Yes.
I think they just put a new one in because on the turn to my dad's house last night, I saw crispy crunchy
See? Oh, that's
chicken.
it.
I think it's right across the street. I think
There you
that we have
go.
one. Yeah, yeah.
See, now they say that the Jack is like blueberry muffins are fire, I hear. I don't particularly care for their muffins. I don't. I really only like their chicken. I don't really like any of their other sides. It's one
Why
of
are they
those places.
selling muffins at a chicken place anyway?
So it's like a cornbread muffin, and then
Oh,
they have
okay.
a blueberry one as well.
All right.
I don't really care for either. I tried making poppy seed muffins this weekend. They're just not as good. So I'm kind of in this baking kick. Maybe it's because it's Thanksgiving week, you know.
It's a
but
good thing they don't require the drug test on the Nikki Medoro network.
Oh,
And
yes.
we can
Well,
eat whatever we want now. Like, forget it.
we were never in the kind of job sector where they cared about those sorts of things, Kim McAllister. I'm pretty sure I can eat all the poppy seed muffins I want, and they'd be like, yep, that's fine. Okay, so coming up, we'll take this one off the road a little bit, but we're going to go right back to talking a little bit about politics and who could be replacing Nancy Pelosi as House Speaker. We'll hear from him. We'll touch a little bit on Trump returning to Twitter. Do you really care? Because I feel, at least anecdotally from my vantage point, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are caring as much that Trump is back on Twitter. I mean, his account is open. He's not tweeting, but do you really even care that he's there? Is that something that's going to make you feel like you don't want to be on the platform at all anymore? I would just say, I don't want to be on the platform because it's gotten extremely boring lately. And I don't understand why it's turning out the way it is, if it's all Elon Musk or it's something else. So we'll discuss all of that.
Oh, okay, because I have things to say now. Should I wait? Should I hold?
Yes, let's talk about it after your news. I'm also going to remove myself and restart my computer because I feel like I might be glitching a little bit. So Kim is going to take it over, and I'll be right back.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
On the Nikki Medoro Show, I'm Kim McAllister. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. TSA officials are reminding passengers what food items will make it through security checkpoints ahead of the Thanksgiving holiday. A TSA spokesperson says if you can spill it, spread it, pump it, or pour it, you're going to have to put those items in your checked bag. That includes canned fruits and vegetables. She says there are also plenty of foods that can be carried through checkpoints, including baked goods and meat. Unfortunately, one person is dead and at least 16 are hurt. This after an SUV went smashing into an Apple store in Massachusetts. Doctors say the injuries include head trauma, some mangled limbs. The incident happened this morning just south of Boston. Nearly 30% of voters believe the incoming House Republican majority should look into impeaching President Biden. That is, nearly 30% of voters say that is what should happen. That's just over 6% of Democrats who responded to the Morning Consult political poll, compared to 55% of Republicans. President Biden has called the potential probes almost comedy. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office in New York City is reportedly jump-starting a criminal investigation focused on former President Trump's alleged hush money payment to a porn star. The New York Times reports prosecutors are pressuring former Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg to cooperate in the investigation. Weisselberg has already pleaded guilty to unrelated tax charges and testified last week in the criminal trial of Trump's business. And as Nikki was mentioning, former President Trump's Twitter account is active again, but Alex Jones may not be returning to the social media platform anytime soon. That is because Twitter's new owner, Elon Musk, is taking a stand against it, saying he's got no mercy for anyone who would use the deaths of children for gain, politics, or fame. The world's largest cruise ship finding a new home in Florida, Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas, will remain docked at Port Canaveral for at least the next 2 years. It can hold nearly 7,000 passengers at a time. It was previously sailing out of South Florida. And I'll close with this story. There's a new after-school club at a California elementary school. It's called the Satan Club. What? Yes.
I actually reached out. Hold on. I reached out to them because I'm trying to get them on the show. So continue your story.
Okay.
I want to hear about this.
So this is the new after school club at Golden Hills Elementary School. It is at in Kern County's Tehachapi is where it is. And they are organizing themselves for the after school club. The Satanic Temple, which is a group described as a non-theistic religious organization advocating secularism and scientific rationalism, they've been launching these clubs in schools where evangelical Christian groups, the Good News Club, other type of clubs, have their own meetings. So it's kind of seen as, well, if you're going to do this club, then we're going to do the Satan Club.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's the situation with that. But the Satan Club, as it's named, apparently is eliciting reactions of shock and disgust.
Of
One
course.
mother is a school volunteer with the After School Satan Club. She says there's a lot of confusion between the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan, but they're two different things. And people are thinking that they're a bunch of devil worshippers, she says, which we are not. We don't believe in a supernatural Satan. But she says once religion invades schools, as the Good News Clubs have, the Satanic Temple will fight to ensure plurality and true religious liberty are respected.
Absolutely. And I applaud them completely.
We are not converting your child to Satanism. That we're focusing on being rational people and having basis in science for everything about the world around us. But this is a big deal at Golden Hills Elementary School in Tehachapi, California, because of the mere name, the Satan Club, and what it's bringing to the fold there. But more with Nikki Medoro. We may even get the Satan Club folks on the show, so look forward to that. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve, who we absolutely adore, has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and businesses alike. If you need help with your taxes, you got to call Steve at 888-TAX-STEAL, or you can look for him online at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
And just to let you know, as you were talking, I checked my email and they have reached back out to me. So hopefully I'll get them on tomorrow, because this is a good debate that I want to have. See, everyone's all fine and dandy, or some people, a lot of people, all fine and dandy with the football coach kneeling and praying at the football game, right? No problem, religious freedom. And then this happens. And then it really tests what kind of religious freedom you're talking about. Are you talking about your religion, or are you talking about everyone's religion? And I love this group. I love the fact that they are actually making people explain their argument. And I think it's going to be really effective.
So my only problem with the club is the name of it. And
Why?
I think if you are the Satan Club, regardless of whether or not you're aligned with the temple or the group, and that they're two different things, it is very easily confused. And all people will be thinking about is that you're sitting around circling a pentagram, cutting animals up and sacrificing blood. That's what people are thinking, and that's not the case. If you're telling me that you're talking about using rational thought and science, I'm signing my kid up for that. But when I have to sign a check written to the Satan Club, I'm having a little bit of a second thought
But that's the point. But that's exactly the point, is that because you know intellectually what the group is for, and it says this other name that you know doesn't have anything to do with it, in your mind, you need to balance those two things. And I think that and again, hopefully I can get them on tomorrow, because I don't want to speak for them, and kind of even the name, the Satanic Temple, it obviously invokes images and has people have reactions like you're having, which are natural reactions. I think most people, would have those, but it is in that reaction that proves the point.
But why can't they just change the name of the club?
Because then it doesn't prove the point. See, you're fine. I'm not meaning you, but people are fine if it's, the Christian church or this church or that church, right?
I'm not fine with that either. I'm not signing my kid
you
up
understand
for the
what
Holy
I'm
Roller
saying.
Club. No way.
Like some people, if it says it's a Christian club or a fill in the blank kind of traditional type of religion club, they're fine with it. But all of a sudden you bring Satan into it and they're like, wait. We don't want you worshiping that way or teaching that way or even using that word. Why don't people have the freedom to use those words? Of course. So I don't know. Again, this will be a really interesting conversation if I can get them on tomorrow, which it's looking like I'll let them know. I'll get back to them at the end of this show. Oh, Eric writes in, the 7 satanic tenets are actually pretty good rules to live by. Respect and be compassionate towards others, struggle for justice, self-determination over one's body, etc. Sounds good to me. I think they might have a PR problem a bit. But I do think that this is a great way to test people's true beliefs about freedom of religion. Chelsea writes in, San Jose Unified was sued by the Christian Athletic Club, and now no clubs can do any activities. You have to let them all, or you have to let none, I guess. I don't know. Acting brand new. You're acting brand new, Kim. Thank you, Irina.
I love it. And I love that. It just seems like when you call it the Satan Club, you're poking a stick at the Christians.
Yes, absolutely, you are, because they're fine if it's them. They're fine if it looks like them and sounds like them and all that sorts of things. But when it doesn't, when it's literally the opposite of them, how much then do they hold on to their freedom of religion? How much?
Is your point then to get children to think rationally and to have science be a real thing instead of what it has been, which is we believe what we want to believe when we believe it, not what the scientific results show, right? Which is ridiculous, because science is science is science. So if your point is to get children to think rationally and believe in science, then just do a club without the name Satan in it. But if your point is to, again, poke the Christians with a stick, then maybe you're more about doing that than you are about teaching kids how to be real critical thinkers.
Well, I think I disagree. I think that their name and using that name is the first step in making people critically think. So if I tell you what the Satanic Club means, what our values are, and you agree with everything, but you don't like the name, then you're not critically thinking about what it means to have the freedom, not just to worship the way you want to, but to call your club what you want to call it. All of those things are wrapped under this umbrella of freedom. I'm free to create these clubs that mean whatever I want it to mean. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be part of it. But that's it.
I completely agree with you, but still, somewhere at the core of my being, and I wasn't even raised a religious person like you were. Right. At the core of my being, when I hear the word, I should say, Satan, that's the pointy horned guy that's red and does bad stuff. He's the bad guy.
But you don't even believe that. But you don't even believe that.
No, but I'm not sending
you're offended by something you don't believe in.
No, but I'm not sending my child to Satan's R Us. I still want to raise good children.
But you don't believe in Satan.
So I don't believe in any of it.
Right. So, I mean, if you don't believe in Satan, then you don't believe that there is a red guy with horns that's badly influencing your children. So then it really is just the word you have an offense with.
That's right. That's exactly
the word that you don't actually believe in the meaning behind it.
And I can't even explain to you why rationally that makes sense to me. And everyone in the chat room thinks I'm a wacko.
About it. And that's what I love about this conversation, and that's what that's why I like it being called the Satan Club or the Satanic Temple or whatever the hell it's called.
People like me can just get over ourselves?
No, but so you can really dissect why you feel the way you do about it. And that, I think, and again, I want to get them on, I don't want to speak for them, but that's what I see the point being, is you need to think logically, critically of yourself and your own beliefs. So why do I think the way I do? So you are a person that does not believe in like traditional religion. You were
organized religion,
and you don't believe in Satan. And yet the word Satan is offensive to you, even when they tell you what they're teaching your kid, which you're 100% behind.
I wouldn't say it's offensive to me, but it's not something I would seek out. I would want to teach my children, and I hope I do, to be kind and to be, to accept everyone and to make people feel comfortable and good in any situation, accept diversity, what have you. But when you name your club Satan, I think people raised in religion or not, like I wasn't, are going to think of a picture of
the character
will pop into their mind.
Right.
And so then it really distracts from your whole, purpose of teaching kids to think critically and believe in science. And I just feel like you're just kind of, doing it more to make a point rather than you are to really have an impact.
I think it's both. I think they're trying to make a point, right? And then I think that they obviously have a a goal of having their club, and they're not just going to stick around and giggle about poking the religious bear, right? I mean, I think there's more to the club than that, but I think this is where it starts. So hopefully we'll get somebody on and we'll talk about it. Raina, just because it's Satan's Club doesn't mean your kids are going to be evil, kid. Yeah,
that's totally true. That's totally true. It just, I have the image. It would be hard. If it's hard for me to get rid of the image, think of like the Catholic people that are like, you want me to send my kid to the Satan's Club? What?
Oh God, can you imagine? I was raised in a Roman Catholic church. Yeah, which is extremely strict. And yeah, if I went to my parents' house today and said that I was putting my kids into the Satanic Club at the after school program, yeah, there'd be hell to pay. But yeah. But I would giggle about it. You know what I mean? I would giggle about it. Okay, so we'll continue this discussion hopefully tomorrow, if not Wednesday, about this, because it's interesting. When you talk about freedom of religion, what do you actually mean? If somebody says that even though they say they don't worship Satan, what if they did? What if they did?
See, I think that if you're going to have one club represented by one religion, that your field is wide open to everyone. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I'm just saying it might present some questions about whether I want to sign my kid up for it.
Right. And I think every parent is going to do that with every club, right? I mean, there are some people, honestly, Kim, and I know that you weren't raised in a Catholic church or whatever, that think the exact same way and have images and stories in their mind about the Catholic Church. I mean, you want to bring up, the Inquisition, and you want to bring up the pedophile priests, and you want to bring up, religion,
right?
Organized religion, not just Catholics, but all kinds of religions have these, honestly, horrible stories behind them if you dig deep enough, right? I mean, you can't I don't think there's any religion out there that has its hands completely clean of anything throughout history. No. But you have to choose what you care about. And if the Satanic Club is focused on compassion and being kind to your body and to others, take the Satan out of it and take them at their word of what they're teaching.
Right.
I would say.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that can be like a religion, of course, is politics. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries is looking to become the next Speaker of the House. This, of course, last week, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced that she was going to be stepping aside. So Jeffries was making the media rounds yesterday, and he was on with CNN's Jake Tapper. And here's the thing about the Democrats. So I've been often critical that Republicans fall in line, right? If there is a talking point, they say it. If there is a slogan, they're all spewing the same thing, right? This week, we're going to be obsessed with Hunter Biden. And this week, it's all election fraud. And this week, whatever, fill in the blank. Well, Hakeem Jeffries was making the rounds, and Jake Tapper was asking him, what about all of the divisions within the Democratic caucus? Do you think that you could keep them united? And Hakeem Jeffries, I really liked his answer. He's a younger guy. And I feel like he is going, hopefully, if he becomes speaker, he's going to be able to balance what the caucus needs and what the American public needs.
You have split with the far-left progressive ring of your caucus at times, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York in the past. Ocasio-Cortez told the New York Times she still was processing the change, and, quote, there's a lot of healing that needs to be done in our caucus, unquote. Do you agree that your caucus needs healing? And if so, how will you achieve that, given that you will be ultimately the Democratic leader?
Well, I have great respect for Representative Ocasio-Cortez and every single member of the House Democratic Caucus, from Representative Ocasio-Cortez to Representative Josh Gottheimer, my good friend, and all points in between. The majesty of the House Democratic Caucus is that we are so incredibly diverse in terms of race and gender and religion and sexual orientation, region, life experience, and even ideology, from the left to progressives, New Dems, Blue Dogs, moderate and centrist Democrats, all points in between. The thing about us, Jake, is that while we can have some noisy conversations at times about how we can make progress for the American people, what we've seen is that under the leadership of Speaker Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, Jim Clyburn, we've constantly been able to come together. My point is, Jake, that though people have doubted us, tried to create this frame of Democrats in disarray, we always are consistently able to come together, find the highest common denominator, get things done for everyday Americans, and make progress.
Well, I like those words from the congressman. I love the fact that he also described the diversity within the Democratic Party. Think about that. I'm going to be a little harsh here, but we don't have token politicians in the Democratic Party. Okay. We have people, and not that one person or even a handful of people should represent an entire group of Americans. But why is the Democratic Party so diverse? And it's because we support the issues and the protections and the rights of a diverse population. While on the Republican side, I don't think that they do that. They don't do it well. I mean, I've mentioned it before, Herschel Walker, he is a puppet for the Republican Party. Oh, he's the best that they can come up with? No, of course not.
Was it Lindsey Graham that said if Herschel Walker loses, it's going to show
anyone
of color that they shouldn't run to be a Republican?
That's
the only guy you have, and that's what you're talking about, is having a person become a token for an entire color, race, whatever of people.
Mm-hmm. And it's ridiculous.
But that's not the case in the Democratic Party.
No.
A black guy loses, a Chinese woman loses, whatever it may be, there's 50 more that has no impact. Their race, their color had zero impact on whether another person should run or not.
Exactly. Now, I think that on the GOP side, it's going to be a bit of chaos. We talked a bit about how Kevin McCarthy wanting, and now of course Hakeem Jeffries wouldn't be speaker; he'd be minority. Kevin McCarthy would be House Speaker, and now Kevin McCarthy doesn't have the votes to become House Speaker. Matt Gaetz and others have said never. I will never vote for him. He needs 218, Kevin McCarthy does, to become House Speaker, and he's making promises. Right? He had to have said something for Marjorie Taylor Greene to say, "Yep, he has my vote." He has to have said something. So here is a little bit of Kevin McCarthy. He's on Fox News talking about what he's going to do. And it just sounds like keeping promises if and when he becomes House Speaker.
One thing I said from the very beginning, Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the public sector. Why would we ever give him a security clearance in the secrets to America? So I will not allow him to be on Intel. You have Adam Schiff, who had lied to the American public time and again. We will not allow him to be on the Intel Committee either. And you look, Congresswoman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward. We're not going to allow her to be on foreign affairs. But we're also going to stand up to what's happening, not just in the halls in Congress, but what's happening into our higher education institutions. The anti-Semitism that's going on these campuses and others. We will investigate that as well and stop this to make sure that America does have the freedom that we said we would keep, and we will stand up to it as we move forward.
I can't stand him. He's literally going to talk about Eric Swalwell's security clearance because of some contact that he had with some Chinese national. And an investigation was done and there was no wrongdoing found. So they keep bringing this up even though they know there was no wrongdoing done. And yes, Nick is absolutely right. Kevin McCarthy has vowed to restore Marjorie Taylor Greene to all the committees that she was pulled from when the new Congress begins. And that's what she wants. And it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos. He mentioned Adam Schiff. So here's Congressman Adam Schiff responding to, I don't know if you want to call it a threat, a promise of McCarthy saying he's going to pull him from committees.
Well, I suspect he will do whatever Marjorie Taylor Greene wants him to do. He's a very weak leader of his conference, meaning that he will adhere to the wishes of the lowest common denominator. And if that lowest common denominator wants to remove people from committees, that's what they'll do. It's going to be chaos with a Republican leadership. And sadly, the kind of the crazy caucus has grown among the Republicans. Many Republicans who won primaries in deeply red districts are coming to Congress, like the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Paul Gosars.
Yep, and David Odell chatted in, who is Adam Schiff? Yeah, they always call him Adam Schiff. It's like they couldn't pronounce the vice president, Kamala Harris's name properly. They do this on purpose. They do. It's Schiff, 2 F's at the end. I'm not looking forward to the nonsense if McCarthy does become Speaker of the House, but I do agree with Congressman Schiff that it's going to be chaos. Omar has responded to McCarthy's comments, reminded everyone she's received death threats as a result of the GOP smear campaign against her. That's from Nick as well. You know, they make these comments and then they don't understand that there is ramifications for those comments. And next hour, we will talk about that. We'll talk a bit about, former President Trump. Do you care that he's back on Twitter? We'll get some reaction. And then, of course, the tragedy that happened in Colorado Springs at that nightclub. And while, again, I said this at the top of the show, I don't think you could solely blame politics for things like this. I do think that the rhetoric that come from our nation's leaders matter. It matters when they say hateful things. It matters when they're like Lauren Boebert sending out hateful tweets months ago about the LGBTQ community. And you don't think that someone not in their right mind isn't going to latch on to that to justify whatever crazy idea they have in their head? Not saying that they're solely responsible, but they need to be mindful of what they say. And we seem to be in this age where politicians who should know better, who should rise above all of this, you would hope, have sunk to the lowest level and become trolls and have said things that I'm surprised that they even take ownership of. And they write them out on Twitter and they say them in front of microphones. And then people that are not in their right mind take those words and do horrific things like we saw in Colorado. And it needs to stop. It really, really needs to stop. And I don't know how we do it unless we get these people out. And McCarthy has already promised people like MTG are going to be back in these committees, given a platform. Can you imagine what these committees are going to sound like? It's something that I would not want on my worst enemy, but that's politics in 2022. Okay, so we're coming up in a couple of minutes. We're going to do Kim's news. But real quickly, if you could please hit the thumbs up while we're thinking about it, click the thumbs up and also subscribe and share with your friends. You're going to be hanging out with friends and family, hopefully, during some parts of this week, definitely on Thanksgiving. Let them know about the show. Ask them to subscribe. I love how Mark Thompson was bringing up on his show. I mentioned it. They don't need to watch. They just need to subscribe. That's true. As many people as you can get to subscribe, please do it. Grab their phone. Be like, I want to take a picture and just hop on YouTube and just go subscribe, hand it back. That's fine. It's not going to cost them anything, and it's really going to help our show. So please, if you can do it, just, sneak people's phones.
Advocate dishonesty? What just happened?
It's not dishonest. It's not dishonest. You just take the phone. Let me show you how to subscribe to Nikki Medoro Show and hit subscribe. And that's it. You can show people all week long. That's all you have to do.
Right.
The super chat is also live if you want to support the show during it happening. And you could also donate if you're listening to this after. There's a way for you to do it. Just look for the $sign. You can throw some money our show's way. And then I urge everyone to become a monthly subscriber in whatever amount you can afford. Think of it as buying us a cup of coffee every single month or a dinner or whatever you can afford. Just go to my website, thenikkimedoroshow.com, and you can become a Patreon subscriber right there. There's also links to the show to share with your family and friend to give them a taste. Our podcast is up. We're on Facebook. Hello, all my Facebook watchers. Any of the podcast apps. I mean, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever you happen to use, we're on there. So if you're driving around to grandmother's house for Thanksgiving or whatever, take us with you and share with your family and friends. And we really do appreciate it because that's the only way that this show is going to go. And of course, coming up after Kim's news, Steve Moskowitz, our founding exclusive sponsor, will be bringing on a very special guest who I am so excited to see. And they'll be sharing some news and some plans, and that's going to be very, very exciting. And so do not go away. We do need to take a quick break for news, but then we'll be right back.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report is sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. California stands with the LGBTQ community and their right to live freely. That's the message from Governor Gavin Newsom after a gunman opened fire Saturday inside of a gay nightclub in Colorado, killing 5 people and injuring 25 others. Governor Newsom says one more death is too many, adding hate is taught and words matter. The 22-year-old suspect, reportedly the grandson of a state assembly member in the San Diego area. Police are again investigating more sideshows in the Bay Area. The first one started in Vallejo Saturday night with a big crowd watching the dangerous car stunts. It then moved south to Richmond, where the CHP helped to break it up. One driver crashed into a fire hydrant on their way out, caused the street to flood. Police cited 2 people, towed 2 cars. In both cases, neighbors reported hearing gunshots. One of the University of Virginia shooting victims has been released from the hospital. The mother of UVA running back Mike Hollins tweeted that news. She thanked everyone who's been praying and getting in contact with her after the shooting that killed 3 of his teammates last weekend. And a New Jersey man accused of attacking author Salman Rushdie in upstate New York is expected in court today. Prosecutors were given an extension to go through materials in Hadi Matar's case. The New Jersey man is accused of storming the stage at a literary event in August and stabbing Rushdie, who I believe lost an eye in that attack. Fewer Americans support stricter gun laws. The Gallup poll found 57% believe the nation's gun laws should be tightened. That down from 66% who said the same thing in June. And I don't know if you, Nikki, feel like this is a story, kind of silly stuff, but it really shows the kind of where we are as a country. Soccer superstar Cristiano Ronaldo, I should say more as we are in the world, not just as a country. Soccer star Cristiano Ronaldo becomes the first person to ever reach 500 million followers on Instagram. Is that news to you?
Wow. But didn't he just get kicked off his team?
This comes
as
he made
has
headlines
some drama surrounding him, yeah?
Due to his interview with Piers Morgan,
yeah,
where he called out the owners of his club, Manchester United.
Right. Yeah.
But it's news that he reaches 500 million followers on Instagram.
On Instagram?
Yeah.
I mean, what does that really mean, right? I mean, it's one, I think that he's an attractive guy in some circles, I guess. He's a huge international sports star. It's not that surprising. And how many of those are bots, Kim? Whenever I see like that big of a number, I'm like, take the bots out. Probably a fraction of that.
It's just like, do we care how many followers someone has?
Do we care that Trump's back on Twitter? Do we care? I mean, I feel like we've reached a saturation point with our level of interest in this sort of thing. I think it's more what are you saying? What is your influence? Those sorts of things, other than just being a troll on social media or a pretty face.
I suppose it's notable if someone has that many followers, that there is some type of a global influence on people and what they think matters to that many people. But I would say that it does absolutely zero to my life to know whether someone has 1 Instagram follower or 500 million. You know what I mean?
I agree with you completely. I do.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just behind the times. I'm just some old lady. Jay Leno is now out of a Los Angeles burn hospital after about 10 days. The comedian first went to the Grossman Burn Center after getting significant burns on his face and hands. It happened while he was working on a classic car in his garage, November 12th. He is expected to make a full recovery. On the way to Oregon, I saw a billboard with his face on it, and saying that he was going to perform at some type of Native American casino along the way. But he doesn't look like that anymore, and I'm 100% sure that performance is not happening. So we're glad that Jay Leno is going to be okay and that he is still recovering and that he is finally out of the hospital. This report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz. For more than 30 years, Steve, who we just love so much, has put his tax knowledge to work for individuals and for businesses. If you need help with your taxes, Steve's the one to call, 888-TAX-DEAL. You can catch him online as well at moskowitzllp.com. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you for joining us for hour 2 of the Nikki Medoro Show live on YouTube. And as promised, we do have a surprise guest. Now, as all of you know by now, Steve Moskowitz has been our exclusive founding sponsor, and Steve joins us now. And Steve, there is someone apparently that you are adding to your amazing team of people, and I'll leave it to you to introduce this person as I bring them in.
Well, thank you so much, Nikki. For years, back when you were at Station X, before the massacre,
Right.
There was your executive producer, Sherry Yee, who was always so great to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was early in the morning when you had the show on Station X, and no
Mm-hmm.
matter how early it was, Sherry was always so bright and cheery.
Yes.
And I told Sherry that, she actually made my day. It actually made me feel good when I talked to her. And she'd introduce it, and Sherry and I go way back to the Lee Rogers show,
Oh,
where your
wow.
listeners have been around for a long time. And basically, this was Sherry's after kindergarten job when she was working at Station X.
Thank you, Steve.
And she was just always so fantastic. And when Station X did their craziness, I said, "Oh my God, Sherry, come on board." And I was very honored, happy, flattered, just so excited that Sherry accepted. And now Sherry's a member of the firm. She's starting today.
Yay!
Day one.
And
Very
a
good.
lot of you, talk to her on air on your show. And one of the functions that many of you listening, should you become clients, would have the opportunity to talk to Sherry again. But Sherry, enough about, I could babble all day how great you are. And I really mean it.
Yeah.
Sherry was just always so fantastic. Early in the morning, just such a joy.
Oh, yeah.
And Sherry, it's your turn to chat. You're on air now.
Well, I'm so happy to see your face, Sherry. So this is the first time that we've seen each other since the blowout. And everybody, I am telling you, Steve, you are so lucky to have this woman on your team. I have never, and I've told her this so many times, but I've never met a woman that has worked harder and is more dedicated to the job that she is doing than Sherry. So you have lucked out, my friend.
Well, I
she's
know
gonna
I
knock you out of
did.
the park.
I tried very hard to get Sherry, and finally Sherry gave in and said, okay. And also, for example, Brian Sussman texted me over the weekend, and he basically told me the same thing you just did. So I mean, I knew it on my own.
Yeah,
I knew it on my
but
own,
still,
it's just
she's
everybody from
amazing.
You
the
got
former
someone
Station
there.
X is telling me that.
She can do anything. This is a person
all at the same time.
It's not true. All at the same time. All at the same time. She's one of those rare people. She can be running a newscast while she's making a call to the next guest, while she's saving sound for someone that needed it, and while she's answering the phone.
Like 10 arms, like all over the place.
While she's sending an email about tomorrow. So this is an incredibly capable person that you just hired. You're going to be like, oh my God, what did I do without her type of thing.
You're going to be spoiled, and then you're going to mourn her loss like I have every single day. But I'm so glad, Sherry, that you've landed with Steve. This is going to be an amazing collaboration, and you must be excited about this new chapter.
I feel so grateful. I had an incredible opportunity to work with you two, Nikki and Kim, two of the hardest working women, so talented and dedicated to the listeners and their families and everything. And now I get the opportunity to work with this awesome man who I've respected for decades. I mean, Steve, you have done so much to save money for the listeners of talk radio for decades. And I'm so excited to join this team because I'm all about saving people money. And I want more people to be able to save some of their hard-earned money, especially with the tough times we have coming up here. And, a lot of industry leaders are warning about a recession coming and stuff. And I know Steve's firm is going to be able to help a lot of our listeners and families save money when we need it most, with inflation going crazy and stuff. And, Steve, I'm just learning about some of the things you guys do, but you can help our listeners batten down the hatches and prepare for this bad economy coming up.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And there's so much that can be done. For example, it's an old joke, but it's true. If you want to get a loan from a bank, you have to prove to them why you don't need it. And with a recession coming, one of the things that's always asked for is cash. You need the cash. So you want to have a credit line. And one of the things that we can do is, the bank is always going to ask for financials. We can prepare those for you. Because remember, in addition to being tax attorneys, we're also CPAs. And then the bank always asks for a business plan. Well, if they give you the money, what are you going to do for it? So what we want to do is, we want to have this set up, and then you have it. So if you don't need it, fine, it's not costing you. But if you do need it, you can draw from it. And that's over and above all the other things that we would normally do, all the tax planning, the ERC, here it is, we're knocking on the door of Thanksgiving, and there's a lot of things that have to be done by December 31st if you want to go ahead and deduct it for this year, 2022. Not everything, like the pensions are exception, but there's so much that can be done. And what you don't want to do is let the recession or any type of other economics sneak up on you and push you in the mud. You want to be ready for it. Just like if a mud storm was coming, you put up the barriers, and this way you can survive. And what happens in business when tough times come, a lot of businesses were not prepared for it and they go out of business. But those that remain prosper and they grow, and now they have very little competition. And by the time other people can get back in the market, they have already greatly increased, and it's a tremendous opportunity for business. And also, I'd like to thank Sherry publicly, because she is the one that came up with this idea. She said, I have some great ideas for your show with Nikki. And I said, terrific. So I'd like to say, I was so brilliant, I thought that up. This was all Sherry's doing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love seeing your guys' faces. I'm so excited about this collaboration. And everybody that's listening, these two together, are going to help you save so much money. So many of you probably have talked to Sherry before when you called us in at Station X. And now, Steve, when they call into AAA Tax Deal, they may hear her voice again.
He's going to be working with a lot of the clients and helping them through the process. And once again, yes, you get it was always, honest to God, it was always a joy for me talking to Sherry. And now your viewers can have that joy if they come to our firm.
Perfect. Sherry, congratulations. I'm so excited to see you. Good luck on everything. I know you're going to knock it out of the park. And again, if you need tax help, give Steve a call, 888 Tax Deal or MoskowitzLLP.com. That's MoskowitzLLP.com. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll talk again. Yay. Bye. Love you, Sherry. Bye. Ah, that's so much fun.
Isn't that the best news?
I love her. It. I don't think that people quite understand how much I love this woman.
I don't think, even if Steve thinks he knows what he just did with hiring her, he has zero idea what it's going to be like.
Oh my God. I'm jealous a little bit.
Everything's just going to be done. Like, it's all going to be done. And he's going to turn around and go, I don't understand how you did all that in record time. I'm telling you. Yeah.
It makes my cheeks hurt. I'm smiling so much for it. Okay. But yes, again, give Steve a call. Give Sherry a call at Steve Moskowitz firm, MoskowitzLLP.com, 888 Tax Deal, because they are the best people to have on your side. Okay. So go Niners, Monday Night Football tonight. Yes, my Niners are playing in Mexico City. So that's coming up at 5:15. We do have the World Cup that's going on. I did want to get to this because it was really funny. So the World Cup is being kind of compared to the Fire Festival. Kim, did you ever watch all of the documentaries about the Fire Fest and the
I reported
cluster
on it
F that it became?
Fell apart and went up in real flames. So yeah.
Yes, exactly.
But I didn't watch the documentary.
Oh, it is so much fun. You have to watch it. I remember being at Station X.
It's so much fun to watch people fail in a spectacular fashion.
It is to watch. It's terrible. Okay, I apologize. But it was so much fun to watch. So I remember being at Station X when the Fire Festival was happening, and you slowly started seeing these comments about, oh my God, there's no housing. It's like FEMA trailers. It was a cheese sandwich. I paid thousands upon thousands thinking I'm going to be rubbing elbows with models and celebrities. And it turned into a complete S show. Well, I wouldn't say that this is at Fire Festival level, but people are comparing the fan village to the Fire Festival. So this is what they're staying in. Now, I will say this. I don't think it's that bad. I just don't think that people would think that's where people are staying. Okay. So I guess 1.2 million people are traveling for the World Cup there. And they're saying that this place where they're supposed to be staying, I think it's like, how much was it? It was a lot of money per night. I want to say between $200 and $2,000, depending on, your amenities to stay here. And they're saying it's not worth it. It looks like a construction zone. I don't think it looks that bad. It does look like I don't know, kind of a, I equate it to like public storage, right? Yeah. So you're just storing yourself. That was the bathroom.
Kind of looks like truck trailers,
Yeah. I mean, maybe people were hoping for something more than that, but I don't think it's that bad. We're up against Wales. I think we're still going on. Yeah. So let me refresh. It was 1-1 last time. Yep. Still 1. Oh, final.
Are you watching it in your house? Like, does your family pay attention to this?
Are you
kind of
high?
Stuff?
Hell no. No, I have it up on Twitter. Speaking of Twitter, we'll talk about it.
It could be high.
Yes. You off an edible before the show? No, I guess it ended with a tie, 1-1, which is the thing about soccer, right? I love soccer because it's 90 minutes ish, and that's it, right? And then they could just end in ties all of the time. But there is a lot of controversy surrounding the games being in Qatar. Now, one was the beer thing that we talked a lot about last week. I don't think that you should have a major sponsor be alcohol and then have an event in a place that bans alcohol. I think that was not a good idea. But then there was the opening ceremonies. And I don't know if anyone caught the opening ceremonies, but Morgan Freeman was there. And he was putting on this performance with this guy. What was his name? His name is... I'm going to butcher it. I apologize. So he's an influencer. His name is Ghanem Al-Muftah. And he was born with this rare disorder that impairs the development of the lower spine. So he looks, to put it bluntly, like he's only the top up, right? Like from the waist up. I don't know, if he can move his legs or whatever, but that was it. And so him and Morgan Freeman are putting on this kind of performance to kind of talk about, coming together as a world. There's one point where he says, how can so many countries, languages, and cultures come together if only one way is accepted? When the action on the pitch finally began, there was bad news, though, for the host nation. That was one report because of the alcohol ban and stuff like that. Did I have some sound? I might have pulled some sound of Morgan Freeman. Now, of course, he has this great voice for it all. Oh, I don't have it. But some people are saying this doesn't look good for Morgan Freeman to be there at a time when FIFA and everyone is facing all of these loud yells about being discriminatory, not paying migrant workers, working conditions. I know you heard from the FIFA president, Infantino, right? What he had to say. Did you hear this? Let me play a little bit of this.
Okay.
This is him trying to compare. I guess he used to have, he's bald now, but I guess he used to have red hair and freckles. So he's trying to make a comparison to himself to other kind of discriminated against groups.
Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay. Today I feel disabled. Today I feel a migrant worker.
Yeah, and it's that migrant worker, and that was him right there that I put up there. It's that migrant worker comment, not to mention gay and all of these marginalized groups. You can't compare yourself just because you feel like it. And so Infantino, the FIFA president, was facing a lot of criticism because of this. One was from this reporter from Sky News, Melissa Reddy. Here she is. And she went off after the comments by Infantino there about how tone deaf the comments were.
You do not know what it feels like to be gay, Infantino. You do not know what it feels like to be disabled. You do not know what it feels like to be African. And you cannot conflate being discriminated against because of red hair and freckles to what any of the groups you've just referenced have experienced. You cannot negate their experience by just saying you feel what they feel. It is an absolutely astounding address from the FIFA president. And it's probably even more astounding that he is being re-elected unopposed after being able to say stuff like this. He's also taken the fact that Qatar recruits from the poorest countries in the world, millions who have nothing, and bring them to do what human rights groups call modern slavery. He's saying that's okay because they get paid more than they do at home. This is just, like I said, misleading, disrespectful, offensive. It's just damaging to the cause, to trying to get better rights, better conditions for these workers, to trying to improve the human rights situation here. And also, he talks about the hypocrisy. I do not think Infantino is the man to speak about hypocrisy. I do not think whataboutism is the correct route for a FIFA president to try and enforce change. If we all get stuck on what's happened before or what's going on elsewhere, and we have to stay silent because of that, we will never bring about any effective change. We'd all just never say anything ever, because no country is untouched and untainted, but we're here for the World Cup. And on the eve of the tournament, this is what we are getting. He says it will be the best World Cup in history. I think this will be the World Cup that really underpins just how dirty the game is.
Oh, so very harsh words from Melissa Reddy there. Again, a Sky News reporter. I mean, I don't think that he fully... Now, Al Anonymous is saying he wasn't lying. He feels gay and felt a migrant worker. I hope that's miscommunication language barrier. I think he knows exactly what he was saying. I think if I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, all right, if I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, I think that he was trying to make a speech that he thought was going to be passionate and it was really going to resonate with people of, you know, we can feel what the other people are feeling. But it's tone deaf. You know, it reminds me, you know, obviously in a smaller way, you know, when you're going through something, right? Whether it's a tragedy or a hard time or you've experienced something, and then all of a sudden you're telling somebody, and instead of listening to you and being empathetic, they're like, oh yeah, I went through the same thing. You know, they keep trying to include themselves in it as if you're not going through something unique to yourself that warrants the full attention. And I feel like that might be what Infantino was doing. I think that he thinks by saying, I feel this way. So he's connecting with these marginalized and discriminated against groups, and it's completely tone deaf. And then the whole migrant worker thing is horrific of what is going on. So there was this other Sky News, I think there was Sky News, Kava Sokol. I'm probably saying it wrong. But listen to what he had to say in regards to Infantino's comments.
Now, as far as migrant workers are concerned, I thought it was insulting what he said, because he started off his speech by saying, today I feel like a migrant worker. Well, with all due respect, how can he say that? He's the president of FIFA. I think he gets paid reportedly more than $1 million a year to be the FIFA president, and he says he feels like a migrant worker. Now, we know thousands of migrant workers have died building the stadiums and the infrastructure that has been required to host this World Cup. How can he say he feels like a migrant worker when we know so many migrant workers have been working to build these stadiums and build this infrastructure, living and working in terrible conditions and often being paid less probably than £1 an hour? I thought what he said about migrant workers, frankly, was insulting.
Absolutely. You know, there's something...
I was just going to say, it's like those people that say, and you might have alluded to this, if you've gone through something horrible, I know how you feel.
Yeah,
I know how
exactly.
you feel. They don't know. You don't know how he feels. I might want to be sympathetic to how people feel, but I will never know how a migrant worker feels because I've never been one.
No, you know, exactly.
I want to be sympathetic to how much discrimination that gay people face in their life or people of color, but I will never understand completely because I will never have been through it.
Exactly. And that's the point. It's just, unless you've experienced it, you can't fully understand what it's like to go through something like that. And I don't think, in all honesty, you ever fully can. Just exactly what you said, Kim. You can be empathetic. You could be sympathetic. You could be an ear and a shoulder for someone to cry on. But even that, even if all of your friends, for instance, are migrant workers, even if every single person you know is part of the LGBTQ community, okay, and you're not, you can't fully understand what it's like to walk in their shoes, in their skin, through their eyes. You can't understand the pressures of being a migrant worker, being told you should be happy to make fraction of what they'd have to pay. Let's just say, I'm just going to use our country, an American worker to do the same job because it's more than you'd make in your home country. The hell is that? Imagine the difference if you would have just paid me what, you would pay an American worker or someone that wasn't a migrant worker. But that's not what people do. It's good business to use cheap labor, right? It saves the bottom line. be damned how they feel, what they're going through, how much of a difference it could have made if you gave them more money, how it must feel to lose a loved one or watch a coworker die building a stadium. You probably don't have enough money to attend the event that's being held there, right? So think about that. And again, think about it all you want. And unless you're going through it, you probably don't fully understand what it's like. And so my heart goes out to the people that have to watch this and have those comments, because it's got to be tough. Anonymous, 8 to 10 workers in a room, one toilet, washing out of buckets, no showers, 125-degree weather, just to send money home. Yeah, just to send money home. Okay, so I want to squeeze this in also. I mean, speaking about marginalized or discriminated against groups, what happened over the weekend in Colorado Springs, it's tragic. It's horrific. And unfortunately, it's becoming way common in Colorado Springs. I mean, I know that tragedies can happen anywhere in this country, but Colorado Springs has had so many of these types of mass shootings and massacres. And to just add this on top of it, yesterday was Transgender Remembrance Day. And then you have this massacre as the backdrop of it. Now, the latest is 5 people were killed inside this nightclub after a gunman went in, Anderson Lee Aldrich, and opened fire. One person that was there was this guy, what was his name? Joshua Thurman. I have a picture of him. He was doing the rounds. He was there. I'm going to play you a little bit of sound, and I have about 3 clips or so. This is him. I guess he performed or was often going to this nightclub. And so he was giving this interview to KRDO TV. This is in Colorado Springs. And the first clip that I'm going to play you is where he was talking. Oh, where did it go? He was talking about hearing the shooting and hearing the gunman there. And here we go. It's so sad because, again, trying to be empathetic and trying to be sympathetic, but not fully understanding what it's like to live in Colorado Springs. So here's, again, the first clip with Joshua Thurman, who was there.
As I was dancing on the dance floor, I heard shots fired. I thought it was the music because there were no screams. There was no help, nothing like that. Then there were more shots. When I realized what was going on, I ran to the dressing room immediately. There was a customer that followed me, and there was a drag performer, Delusional, who was in the dressing room. I made them lock the doors, and we got down on the ground and cut off the lights immediately.
I can't imagine what it's like to be there for that. Here's some more from Joshua Thurman talking about what he heard through the doors.
We heard everything. We heard more shots fired. We heard the assailant being beat up by someone that I assumed that tackled him. We heard the police come in. We heard them yelling at him. We heard them saying check certain people because they're critical. We heard everything, and all I can think about is everything. My life. Just everything, friends, family, loved ones. I came here to celebrate my birthday. Honestly, I was supposed to be in Denver, but I came back a day early, and it's sad.
Yeah. And as we, obviously remember the people that were injured and killed in this shooting, you also have to remember where he lives and the rhetoric that is involved there. And he was telling this reporter, again, this was a reporter with KRDO who was doing this interview, how important the place where the shooting happened was to their community.
What does this mean for the LGBTQ community here in Colorado Springs, this shooting?
It's hard to say. It means so much because this is our only safe space here in the Springs. And so for this to get shot up, what are we going to do now? Where are we going to go? Yeah, we can rebuild and come together and this, but what about those people that lost their lives for no reason? like the 18 that were injured. I could have been one of them. Like, it means a lot because, again, what are we going to do now? How are we going to feel safe in our city?
This was your safe space.
Yeah, this was the only LGBTQIA plus space in the entire city of Colorado Springs. It's won awards in Independent Magazine. I got my start here. Like, so many of my friends I met here and people that I call loved ones, and now it's shattered.
Yeah, and he had told someone, he's like, I lost friends. I'm not okay. And I hope that somebody's checking in on him because I can't imagine going through something like this. Now, we're going to get to Kim's news in just a moment, but I want to move on to, this former President Trump being back on Twitter and the impact and the consequence when politicians spew hate on their social media feeds. Now, Lauren Boebert, Congresswoman from Colorado, right? She's trying to do her whole thoughts and prayers crap. And then people are dragging her because she's put up tweets like this. This was what? June of this year. Take your children to church, not drag bars. Another one. A North Carolina preschool is using LGBT flag flashcards with a pregnant man to teach kids colors. We went from reading Rainbow to Randy Rainbow in a few decades, but don't dare say the left is grooming our kids. Now, you can feel, I guess, well, of course, you can feel any way you want. But when you are a lawmaker, when you have a platform and you spew stuff like this, when you spew your hate and your bigotry, it's going to impact people like the guy that went to that club and shot up all those innocent people who were doing nothing to him. They did nothing to him. And so what is it? As we go into Kim's news, you tell me, what is it? Is it the politicians? Am I being unfair by even bringing politics into this? Is it just we have a mental health crisis in this country? And what responsibility should politicians have when they represent diverse areas? I mean, yes, Colorado Springs, that might have been the only LGBT gay club in the whole city. That says something. But they are also her constituents, and they should be defended as well. But first, let's do some news with Kim.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And this report sponsored by tax attorney Steve Moskowitz at 888 Tax Deal. Thanksgiving travel already getting underway as the TSA expects to screen millions of passengers this week. The agency expects record travel as the U.S. moves further from the pandemic. TSA admitting hiring new workers, it's a big challenge now. The driver accused of injuring 25 law enforcement recruits in Southern California last week says the crash was unintentional. Nicholas Gutierrez says he didn't mean to hit the cadets with his SUV and that he has been living in a nightmare ever since. Police say they believe the incident was intentional. It is still unknown exactly what the federal response will be to the shooting at an LGBTQ club in Colorado Springs. The U.S. Attorney's Office released a statement saying all the facts will be reviewed to see what kind of federal response there should be. 5 people died, many more injured in that attack late Saturday night. Investors are showing confidence in Bob Iger's return to Disney. Stocks in the entertainment company have been climbing in pre-market trading. The bump comes after last night's news that Bob Chapek stepped down as CEO effective immediately. Iger is back at Disney following his initial retirement in December of 2021. It's a big change now in the race for the next mayor of Oakland. Sheng Tao is now in the lead with just over 50% of the votes counted. Yes, and it leaves city council member Lauren Taylor, who won the lead, trailing for the first time since the midterm elections almost 2 weeks ago. He was reacting to that news over the weekend, saying there are still thousands of ballots left to count, saying it's premature to declare victory or defeat at this time. Now, the city of Oakland uses ranked choice voting. That's why this can be a little complicated, trying to figure out who's number 1, number 2, number 3. Exactly. So right now it's Sheng Tao in the lead and Lauren Taylor at number 2. And I think when you interviewed Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, she was supporting Lauren Taylor in this race.
She was. Yeah, she had thrown her endorsement behind Lauren Taylor. I did reach out to Sheng Tao's campaign to kind of see how they're feeling. Have not heard back. I'm assuming everyone's just kind of in a holding pattern until it. I'd love to get whether it's Lauren Taylor or Sheng Tao or whoever on to see what they have planned. Because, you know, and Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf admitted when she came on our show, a couple of weeks ago, there are some big issues that Oakland's going to have to deal with. And so it's a bit of a hill that either Lauren or Shane will have to climb.
Well, you still have to wait to figure out who it'll be because only 50% of the votes counted. So we got some, some time here to wait. You were mentioning Burbank Congressman Adam Schiff. He is considering a run for a different office in 2024. He says he might run for U.S. Senate if Senator Dianne Feinstein decides not to run for re-election in 2 years. Schiff says he was thinking about trying for a leadership role in the House, with Nancy Pelosi stepping down from that. But his colleagues persuaded him, no, run for Senate instead. Don't try to be the House Speaker or minority leader or majority leader in this case, because we still the Democrats still have control of the Senate. But they decided, they persuaded him to run for Senate. So when Dianne Feinstein steps down, I think we'll see Adam Schiff in that race. There are 2 men starting their sentence for vandalizing a Black Lives Matter mural in Santa Cruz last year. They pleaded no contest. They were given 90 days in jail. They have to attend diversity and sensitivity training and pay $19,000 in restitution and serve probation. Community members spoke out during sentencing and read victim impact statements. Again, they were sentenced for vandalizing a Black Lives Matter mural in Santa Cruz last year. Still no timeline, though, to repair that mural that was in front of City Hall. This kind of harkens back to I forget his last name, Brian Stowe. Brian Stowe's beating at Dodger Stadium.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about. Yeah.
There's a man behind bars on suspicion of attacking an elderly couple as they were leaving an Elton John concert at Dodger Stadium. Like, you wonder, what did they do? What happened that they were the targets of this? This is a husband and wife in their 60s beaten in the parking lot at Dodger Stadium Thursday night. Police say the man and the couple got into a fender bender. They got out of their cars. There was some arguing. Then there was some fighting. TMZ is in the mix here. They're reporting a group of 4 to 6 people attacked this elderly couple.
Jesus.
Their report, the couple was punched, choked, had their hair pulled. Cell phone video shows the husband getting punched while he's on the ground. Just a mess. Absolutely.
I mean, it's an Elton John concert. You know what it is? And it doesn't matter that it's Elton John. It's alcohol. It's plain and simple. I bet you if you gave him a breathalyzer, someone's drunk. Because you don't just, I think I read one report that a fender bender or somebody had hit the mirror or smashed the mirror of one of their cars. And someone was like, who hit my mirror? And that's what you should be able to get out of your car and confront somebody about a fender bender or some damage to your car without getting your head bashed in.
One would hope.
Jeez.
I don't understand it either. So there's a new app for people questioning gender identity. Discover Me, it's called. It was created.
So you can take a quiz and it'll tell you what gender you are?
I don't know. I haven't gone on to it. Discover
All right,
Me.
Hold on. What is the website? Hold on, go.
It's called Discover Me.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a .com or what. Created by Arizona State University student Joshua Tint. Okay. It allows users to try on different names and pronouns in order to see what fits them best. Tint says he created an app to give users a safe, discreet, private place to explore their own gender and their own terms. Are you on it?
Okay, well, I tried to go to one, but one looked like just a career kind of app. Oh, here we go. Okay, let me see. Let's see if it's okay. Here we go. I'll have to do it. Maybe we'll but do this tomorrow.
We'll play this gender game. Discover Me.
I understand. So it's an app. Do I have to download something? That sucks. I just want it to be a website. Why can't people make things easy so I could do it on the fly? Anyways, interesting. So has there been any reaction or response to this? How accurate it is? It seems weird that one guy's doing this. It's like, here you go. Here's the answer everyone's been searching for.
Here's this app. I'm sure it will be like another outcry. See, look what they're trying to do to our kids now. Now they can try to say they, them, he, her. What?
It's not that difficult. I mean, honestly, like I always tell people this when how am I supposed to keep track of all these names and pronouns? You do it all the time. When you meet people, when they have nicknames, when you're into sports and they have nicknames. I mean, stop acting like the bar is so high. All you have to do is care. That's it. And so for some people, caring is just too freaking high of a bar. And so they won't do it. That's unfortunate.
As my daughter, who I think was 12 at the time, and took on a caller at Station X, said, and I'll never forget this. She asked the caller, "Well, why wouldn't you want someone to be happy?"
Exactly.
If calling someone a certain name that they have asked you for makes them happy, what difference does it make to you? You just made someone happy.
Exactly. Because it does have to, they have to learn something new. They have to kind of expand their mind a little bit. They may not fully understand. And unless they do, they just can't do it. It's them. It's kind of like what we were talking about, that FIFA president kind of inserting himself into people's trauma and discrimination. It's as if it's like, unless I feel 100% comfortable and this aligns with all of my beliefs and my upraising and whatever, I don't want to do it. And that's so close-minded, and your world is going to be so boring because there's so many amazing people out there that were raised differently than you, that feel different, that worship differently, fill in the blank. And if you would just get out of your little, like, it has to be like me or nobody else, you're never going to meet these people. You're never going to have these experiences, and you're missing out. Honestly, you're missing out.
No, what skin is it off your nose to make someone have some joy in the world? Why don't you just do it?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to end this one with a little bit of uplifting news.
Okay.
A bird thought to have been extinct 140 years has been rediscovered.
Oh, yes. It was hiding out, huh? It's like, don't find me.
Yeah, leave me alone, you people. This is a black-naped pheasant pigeon. It was recorded for the first and only time in 1882. Scientists thought it had long since vanished, but researchers off a remote island off Papua...
Oh, we lost you, Kim. Papua New Guinea, I'm assuming you're saying? We lost Kim. It was a bird that was lost in Papua New Guinea, and hopefully Kim will come back. But that's good. When they find animals or birds or whatever that have gone extinct, they're hiding from you. I mean, you can't possibly know that this is the absolute last of whatever species there is. It's just that they're hiding because you guys are either the environment's not nice to them anymore or whatever. And so they can't possibly do it. So hopefully we can get Kim back. So stick with us. We're going to talk a little bit about Trump being back on Twitter. How many of you are actually still on Twitter? Is anybody in the chat? Let me know in the chat. Are you guys on Twitter? And do you care that Trump's been allowed back on? Because honestly, I could not care less that Elon Musk has allowed Trump to return to Twitter. I think that Trump and Elon want us to react to it, and that really, really helps them and gets views and all those sorts of things to the site. But I don't think that people actually care. Okay, so while we're thinking about it, before we get to that, click a thumbs up. While we're here, it's simple. It's free. It's the only thing I really ask you to do each and every show, and to share with your friends. Now, there's a bunch of other things you can do. You can hit that super chat, and I'll be giving some love in just a few moments to all the people that have been donating money to our super chat. You can get a super sticker. You can do a super thanks. That $sign right under the live chat that you guys are all hanging out in. If you could throw us a couple bucks every show or once a month or whatever you can afford, we really do appreciate it. I love all of the messages that we're getting on my website and through our Patreon. Go to thenikkimedoroshow.com and you can become a monthly subscriber of this show. You can become Medorable and be a listener of the Nikki Medoro Show. I will love all of you. Big kisses to each and every one of you. I actually got a message, and I'm just going to read it because it just popped up, from Charles, who wrote me. It says, was so disappointed that Station X dropped the ball. They've lived in Kern County, Kevin McCarthy's district, for the past 5 years after living on the coast most of my life. Listen to your morning show every day. There are no left-leaning radio stations in the whole country. Keep up the good work. And that's from Charles, who says, glad you're still talking. So yes, I am still talking, and I'm here because of all of you. So again, if you can throw us some money in the super chat, through the Patreon, in whatever way you can, I would love it. Okay, let's talk about Twitter. Ricky O'Bear, I use Twitter and I don't care if Trump is back or not. Murphy, I'm on Twitter, but I avoid the MAGA tweets. I follow the blue wave accounts. Jack, media talks about Trump all day, every day anyway, so him on Twitter makes no difference. Chris, I think I signed up and have an account, but I've never used it. And then Eric writes, never was on Twitter in the first place. If Trump starts tweeting again, he's going to drive away most of the remaining advertisers. Now, again, so Trump's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. And the reason is he started Truth Social, right? His stupid right-wing, badass crazy social media site that was supposed to take on Twitter. It's not doing well. It's losing money. I don't know who the hell's on it. I'm not. If he goes back on Twitter and starts tweeting that, then he's shooting his Truth Social in the foot. On the other hand, I don't think that he necessarily has the reach that he did on Truth Social as he does with Twitter. But, what is he really aiming for? So there's been a lot of reaction to Trump being back on Twitter. And how it happened was ridiculous. If you don't know, Elon Musk, who has already admitted that Twitter is full of bots, decided to put up a poll, and it would be determined by those responding to the poll whether or not Trump is back on Twitter. And I think he won like 51 to 48% or something like that. Danielle Moody Mills is a journalist, and she was on MSNBC, and she was slamming the fact that they put Trump back on. So let's see. Do I have her? Yes. Okay, so here she is. Now, I think she makes an excellent point of why would Elon Musk want to put Donald Trump back on Twitter?
I'm absolutely disgusted, but what else do we expect from very white, privileged, cis, hetero men protecting each other because we always mistake wealth and inheritance for genius. So yay, Elon Musk gets what he wants, his buddy back on the air in order to finish burning down democracy while he finishes burning down the town square.
There you go. White, cis, not discriminated against rich men are defending each other. Oh, have you been unfairly villainized on Twitter, Trump? Well, boo-hoo, play a tiny violin, and now you're back on there. Just ignoring how he used that platform to incite what happened on January 6th. Just ignoring how he used Twitter to spew conspiracies and lies that had people, some of these people are in prison now. And why? When they were being arrested, when they were at the Capitol, what did they say? Trump sent us here. Trump told us. They were on Twitter reading his tweets. That's what matters. Now, Hakeem Jeffries, of course, looking to replace Nancy Pelosi as the leader of the House, they'd be in the minority, was asked to also respond to Trump being reinstated to Twitter.
I have no reaction at this point in time to anything that Elon Musk or Donald Trump does, particularly as it relates to social media. I am going to continue to try to lean into the principles of equal protection under the law, liberty and justice for all, government of the people, by the people, and for the people, and build upon the amazing progress that House Democrats have brought to bear in partnership with Senate Democrats and President Biden, and continue to push for American exceptionalism throughout the country.
I love the fact that Hakeem Jeffries, congressman, did not take the bait in really reacting, because there are people that have and did. Adam Schiff, I'll play you in just a second some sound from his interview, and he did react. One person says that he was going off the rails about it, and he wasn't. He was reacting though. But I like the fact that Jeffries was like, you know what? He could do whatever he wants. We have an agenda. We have things we want to do for the American people. Elon Musk can do whatever he wants with his own private company, and other people, advertisers, people that are on Twitter can decide what they're going to do. Now, I'm still on Twitter, but again, I've admitted this. I'm on it a lot less than I used to be because you don't know who's who and what's real. And I'm really just following those that I know in real life, legitimate news sources and things like that. Eric Kennett, Jack first wrote, if it fails, it fails. Who cares? The narrative against him and constant news is at Trump levels of attention and free advertising. And Eric says, everyone, it's a slow motion train wreck. You can't look away. But the reason why I played you that sound clip of Danielle Moody Mills on MSNBC is because Twitter was a sort of town square. It wasn't a healthy one. It had a lot of crazy people in it. But it also was a way for people to get attention to issues and to parts of the world that other people may not pay any attention to. People get their news online, and Twitter was one of the most popular places for people to do that and to get attention. And now we've lost that. It's been muddied because Elon Musk, honestly, the things that he's been tweeting are ridiculous. I don't think he fully grasps how much people are disappointed in how he's leading the country, but it is what it is, and he could do what he wants to. Finally, let me play one more sound clip. This is of Adam Schiff, and he was reacting to Trump being reinstated on Twitter. And again, people were saying that he was losing his mind and all of those sorts of things. I don't think that he was. I think that Adam Schiff was expressing a frustration that a lot of us have, which is if Trump is back on, what is that going to mean to his influence on Twitter? And could it possibly lead to, I'm not saying another January 6th, but a group of people doing something, being emboldened to do something that's awful? So again, here is Adam Schiff.
I think it's a terrible mistake. And you're absolutely right. As we showed in the January 6th hearings, the president used that platform to incite that attack on the Capitol. His comments about the vice president, his own vice president, put Mike Pence's life in danger. He showed no remorse about that. He continues to lie about his actions on that day. He talks about pardoning the people who attacked police officers and attacked the Capitol that day. And it contradicts what Elon Musk said, that he was going to establish a council to evaluate this, and further contradicts Musk and his claimed concern about bots on his own platform, to subject the decision to a poll on a platform that could be easily abused that way. It just underscores the erratic leadership of Twitter now under Musk, but also the security concerns with security people fleeing Twitter and what that means for the protection of Americans' private data.
Yeah, he did it with that snap poll, and even then the vote was 52-48.
Exactly. It was not a huge, even with the bots that were probably on that poll of getting Trump back. JR wrote in, still on Twitter, to learn how to rapidly devalue $44 billion. I'm waiting for Elon to pull the bankruptcy card to protect that investment while he dismantles it from within. I don't understand it. And I think we have Kim back. I don't understand why you would want to do this when you spend so much money on a platform. Like, why would you want to ruin your quote unquote investment unless you just don't know what to do with it? You don't know how to manage it. That's the only thing that I could say.
Maybe you have so much money you just don't care.
I mean, come on, $44 billion, maybe million, but $1 billion?
Plus, you would think that, I think the Saudis invested 20% of that. So you would feel like, you wouldn't want to piss them off either. I don't know.
No. Jack asks, if Twitter allowed live streams like you're doing now, would you migrate over? Incentivize you and the listeners based on common engagement and interaction. I'd love to make money as a commentator. That's interesting. Now, I promote the show on Twitter. It doesn't bring me any money. How closely do you monitor those platforms that make you money for the CEO or whatever's bad handling or, I don't know, discrimination or misbehavior or whatever? It's a good question. I would not live stream on Twitter. I don't think Twitter's platform really does well with that. But it's something where if people are making money off it, they turn a blind eye to it. I don't think I'd be able to turn a blind eye to Elon Musk. Chris writes in, maybe he'll implode and go insane, have Ye as an endorsee. Maybe no one is not going to be as enchanted as the Donald. Might be a nice ending after all. Yeah, did you see Ye tweeted out shalom with a happy face? I just, if you want to allow freedom of speech, you have to allow the trolling and all of that as well, but you don't have to hang out there. No. And I think fewer and fewer people are going to do that.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to leave you with one last thing. And this is Paul Ryan. So just days after Trump announced his third bid for the White House, former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, who I have no respect for because he, cut ties and ran like a wuss instead of standing up to Trump, said he considers himself a never again Trumper. And so here is a question from ABC's Jonathan Karl. It was a good interview. Jonathan Karl was, Paul Ryan was promoting his book. And so here was the questioning.
What will it mean to the Republican Party if he actually wins the nomination again?
We probably likely lose the White House.
We just did in 20. So I think we probably lose the White House with Trump. And if there's someone not named Trump, my guess is we win the White House.
But if I'm saying if he wins the general election, if he becomes president again, I mean, the way Liz Cheney has put it, it's like an existential threat to the country.
I just don't think he's going to. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he'll win.
He's just unelectable.
I think he's unelectable because that suburban voter. You think he's more popular since the 2020 election with the swing voter in America or less?
No evidence of that at all. Yeah. But he does seem to have a hold on a good chunk of the Republican Party. Whether or not it's a majority, we'll see.
That's right. But I think he's going to continue to lose altitude because we want to win. And we know with him we lose. We have a string of losses to prove that point. And there are a lot of really good, capable conservatives who people I think like that are more than capable of not only being good conservatives in office, but can win elections.
Yeah. And look at who's on here and whose beautiful face that we're seeing for the very first time is Kim McAllister. I
try to hide.
No,
I had to go
you
to a different computer because my the internet blew up over here. So now I'm on a Wi-Fi hotspot, and I've got a different computer that I'm using. So hello.
I love it. See, now look how beautiful she is. I hope that Paul Ryan, though, by the way, is correct that Trump won't be the nominee. Oh, and then part of me is like, well, maybe he should be, and then he'll lose. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be an interesting race to watch as we head toward 2024. I don't know what I want to happen. Ron DeSantis, Ron DeSantis is 44 years old. He's my age. And
we have that many more years of him ahead of us?
Yes.
Really?
I'm like, oh my God, 44? I just can't. I can't. But people say that once he starts running for president, we're going to see the real Ron DeSantis. And there's just no way people are going to want him to be president. Mm-hmm. All right. Everyone is loving the fact that you're on camera, Miss Kim McAllister. We're going to have to make this a regular thing. See how gorgeous she is? Now we got to pump her up so she does it every single time. Yay, 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 yay. Hey, hit the thumbs up for Kim being on camera. Yeah? Yeah?
Let's do Nikki,
that. I
stop.
know. We're going to get you every single time. So, okay. We're wrapping up the show. Kim, I love seeing your gorgeous face. Look how awesome you look. Tomorrow, we are going to touch on a bunch of different things. I was not able to get to it today, and I wanted to, and I'm actually trying to get one of the reporters that covered this, but it's the Bay Area transit death spiral. Have you heard about this, Kim?
No, are more people getting hit by trains or what?
Well, no, that's really disturbing.
What do we got?
It's the number of people that are actually riding public transit, and it's collapsing. Public transit is collapsing in the Bay Area because they don't have enough riders. Right?
That's not nearly as exciting. I'm sorry.
I know. I mean, I know you want death and destruction, and I'm all for that. But they're saying that these systems have never been as close as they are to collapse. Their ridership is so far down that it can't sustain it. But at the same time, it's because a lot of people are working from home. But if they're thinking about cutting lines, like full lines, Richmond to San Francisco, things like that. What is that going to mean for those of you who are still driving into the office? That means more congestion and, in my mind, more money for those express toll lanes that they've been popping up so quickly, it seems like, around the Bay Area. Yep. It's going to be a huge moneymaker at the cost of taxpayers, which, I'm sorry, already paid for the roads. So we'll get to that tomorrow. I apologize that I wasn't able to get to it today, but I do want to get out all of my thank yous for everybody that has been in the live chat, sending super stickers. Andreas, we love you. We love you. We love you. Gave us another $20. Celeste, with a fabulous message. Thanks for a lovely, magical, and smart Monday show. Thank you, Celeste. $9.99. Peg Thompson, $19.99. Peg, love you.
Nice.
I love the super sticker. Super sticker from Mark De Leon, $1.99. We also got a $2 super sticker from Eric Kennedy. Murphy, a big shout out to her.
Hi, Murphy.
From her. $20
She's awesome.
from Murphy. We love all of you.
I don't know Murphy's gender, whether Murphy's a man or woman, but I love Murphy's comments are always awesome.
Believe a woman, although I don't want to choose gender because I think that we follow each other on Twitter. So I think I might be right there. But Murphy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that you're a woman. But I could be wrong. I apologize. So thank you to everybody that's been tuning in. Please. Oh, Kyle just threw one in. Kyle O'Keefe, $9.99. Funds for the longer extension cord. So I don't have a plug over here, and I want to turn my light on. My Nikki Medoro thing right here.
Oh, we need to light that bad boy up. You know who else just
really
donated
cute.
as well?
Huh.
Is Andreas.
Yes,
Again.
I love
Yeah.
Andreas. You are the best. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Please become a monthly Patreon subscriber. I had somebody write me saying, is there another way to donate other than Patreon? At this point, it's Patreon or the live chat. So you can come in during the show and throw us some money that way. Find the Patreon link also to share with your family and friends at the NikkiMedoroShow.com. I love all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in every single day. It is the reason why we do this show is because you're here. If you weren't here, I'd be so sad. But thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, we'll talk again live noon to 2 right here on YouTube.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.